We all knew this fight was going to happen, but it's now been announced, so I can finally talk about it. Dricus Du Plessis is going to defend his middleweight title against Israel Adesanya at UFC 305 in Australia. We all remember what happened last time Izzy fought there. We all knew Izzy versus Dricus was going to happen next. We've been hearing, or at least I've been hearing, rumors about this fight happening at UFC 305 for months now, and the UFC's finally announced it. And I see a lot of people upset saying that Izzy doesn't deserve the title shot. I've seen a lot of people say this is the most undeserved title shot in UFC history. I don't know if I agree with that, but what I do agree with is the fact that Izzy doesn't deserve this title shot. He's coming off a loss to Sean Strickland in a fight he got absolutely dominated in. And in my opinion, I don't think anyone should get a title shot coming off a loss unless you were a long-reigning dominant champion, which Izzy wasn't. He didn't have any title defenses. Sure, before he was a dominant champion, but he already got his immediate rematch against Alex, beat Alex, and then lost to Sean right after. The only reason Izzy is getting this title shot is because of the history between him and Dricus and the fact that this is probably the biggest fight you can put on in all of the middleweight division. I still think what should have happened is Izzy faces Hamzat for the #1 contender fight, and in the meantime Sean Strickland fights Dricus, as he's the most deserving of a title shot out of everyone, you know, coming off a dominant win against Paulo Costa, although somehow it was a split decision, but I mean we all saw the fight. And then before that he had a really close fight against Dricus that a lot of people, including myself, thought he won, but either way it was extremely close, very competitive, and because there's no real #1 contender right now, I still think the rematch between these two makes the most sense out of everything. But we got the Adesanya fight instead, and I'm not upset about it because this fight is very intriguing. Both stylistically, it's a hard one to predict, and it should be a fun stylistic matchup. And because of all the history, the bad blood between these two, the way this fight's been building for the past year. On the feet, Izzy should pick Dricus apart. Now, Dricus isn't a terrible striker. He's very powerful. He'll mix it up. He'll work to the head, work to the body. He'll mix in kicks as well, but Dricus has a striking style that is tailor-made for Izzy, where he'll just walk forward with these wide-winging telegraphed overhands and hooks that often leave him very exposed and defenseless, and oftentimes off balance as well, which is the worst thing that can happen to you in a fight. Look at the way Dricus's momentum just carries him off balance. He did this repeatedly, time after time in the Sean Strickland fight. Sean just never took advantage of it. He was never able to capitalize on those openings, whereas Izzy will. Izzy is an elite counterpuncher. Izzy does his best work when he is counterpunching, and if Dricus walks forward and just throws overhands at him, Izzy is absolutely going to capitalize on those overextensions when Dricus gets himself off balance. Izzy is definitely going to be able to time his right hand off those openings, and in general is just going to have a huge advantage on the feet. He's way faster, he's longer, has a 4-inch reach advantage, while also being 3 inches taller. He has an amazing jab, and we saw how effective Sean's jab was against Dricus. I mean, that jab was landing all day. He's the much faster fighter of the two. He'll mix in kicks as well, and Izzy's kicks are probably better than his punches, which is crazy to say. He'll throw kicks off his lead leg, off his back leg. He'll throw leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks, using the body and leg kicks to set up the head kicks, and also just using his kicks and his jab, keeping Dricus at range, forcing Dricus to come in, where he'll probably come in very reckless with an overhand, overextend on it, leave himself off balance and exposed, where Izzy will counter him with a right hand. Izzy needs to keep this fight standing because that's where he has a huge advantage. As I said before, Dricus isn't terrible on the feet. He's very powerful. I mean, we've seen his one-punch knockout power against guys like Trevin Giles. He has a good jab out of both stances. His jab is easily his best punch. That's actually one of the only punches he doesn't overextend on, but there's no way he's going to out-jab Israel Adesanya. But he is also very durable, has an amazing chin, which is a good asset to have against Izzy, but Izzy's just so much more technical, and Dricus leaves far too many openings on the feet. So the more Dricus strikes with Izzy, the worse his chances become, but where Dricus has his biggest advantage and where he needs to get this fight is on the ground. But can he take this fight down? Because Izzy does have solid takedown defense, I would say, although Dricus is a very good wrestler, especially for the middleweight division. He can take you down from range with a double leg. He can take you down in the clinch with a trip. He was able to take down Sean Strickland pretty easily. I mean, he was even able to get Robert Whitaker down, who has amazing takedown defense. We saw Olympic level wrestlers like Yoel Romero really struggle to take Whitaker down, but Dricus was able to get him down and then dominate him on top. Dricus is also a lot bigger and stronger than Adesanya, which will definitely play a big factor. And although Izzy has solid takedown defense, I don't know if he's faced someone who's as good of a wrestler as Dricus. I mean, Robert Whittaker was able to take him down, which Whittaker is a good overall wrestler and a solid offensive wrestler. I mean, he was able to defend a lot of Marvin Vettori's takedowns, but Vettori was still able to get him down and even got his back at one point. And Vettori really isn't great on the ground. But overall, I would say Izzy has okay takedown defense, but I'm not sure if it's good enough to keep this fight standing against Dricus, who, as I said, is a lot bigger and stronger than Izzy. I mean, Izzy is a small middleweight weight-wise. He's probably 200 pounds, 205 pounds, whereas Dricus is probably 215 plus. And Dricus is also just a good wrestler in general. I think Dricus needs to find a way to create contact, whether that's with a takedown or whatever. Just shoot it on Izzy. It doesn't really matter if you get the takedown. Create contact, rise up into the clinch, and then work there. Because as good as Dricus is at taking the fight down from distance, he has a very good double leg. I think he's even better in the clinch. And from there, Dricus can look for a trip. I mean, he was able to trip out Robert Whittaker and Sean Strickland, who I think definitely have better takedown defense than Izzy. And then once Dricus gets this fight down, he is going to absolutely dominate Izzy on the ground. Dricus is by far the most complete grappler Israel Adesanya has ever faced. And we've seen guys like Marvin Vettori, who is a much worse grappler than Dricus, get Izzy down and put him in some bad positions. Got his back, was threatening with the choke there for a second. And if Dricus gets these positions, I'm not sure Izzy is going to be able to escape. Dricus has solid control. His submissions are elite, especially for the middleweight division. He'll roll for heel hooks. If you give up your back, he'll sink in the rear naked choke. He has a really good guillotine. And although Izzy's submission defense has looked good, it's like, who has he really fought, though, that is an elite level grappler? I mean, Vettori got him down and put him in some pretty bad spots, but Vettori's not that elite on the ground. Guys like Rob Wilkinson, Jan Blachowicz, Robert Whittaker, none of these guys are great submission artists like Dricus is. But Dricus isn't just a submission artist, he's also very good at transitioning, very good at securing dominant positions. He'll get mount, he'll take your back quick if you give it up to him. Any opening Adesanya gives him on the ground, Dricus is absolutely going to exploit. Dricus also has elite ground and pound that would be very disruptive and damaging to Izzy. We saw him use that ground and pound very effectively on guys like Darren Till and Robert Whittaker. And that ground and pound would not only be damaging to Izzy, but it would also start to open up submissions and position opportunities for Dricus to attack on. So Dricus definitely needs to find a way to take this fight down and then just absolutely dominate Izzy on top. That's his key here. I think to do that, he needs to use calculated pressure. He can't walk forward recklessly behind these big overhands because Izzy's just going to counter him all day if he does that. But if he walks forward with calculated pressure, is defensively sound, and then just finds a way to create contact, get in the clinch, shoot in on him, just whatever he has to do, and then from there find a way to take the fight down. That's what Dricus has to do. And Dricus pressuring Izzy would also make Izzy's kicks less effective. It's a lot harder to throw kicks off your back foot, and because of Dricus's durability and the fact that Izzy really doesn't hit that hard, I would say, even if Dricus has to take a punch to get in there on Izzy, I think it would be worth it. But in the end, for an early prediction, I'm gonna still lean with Dricus. I think Dricus does beat Izzy on the feet. As I have repeatedly said, he has nothing for him, but I think he will be able to find a way to get this fight down. And then once he gets this fight down, Izzy's not gonna be able to get back up. He's gonna be able to control him on the ground, land big ground and pound shots, transition into mount, take his back. Whatever opening Izzy gives him down there, Dricus is gonna take and then look for submissions. I don't know if he finds one, but I do think he'll be able to at least control Izzy on the ground, land some big ground and pound shots, and I think he wins the fight through that. But I wouldn't be surprised either way. I'm gonna be debating about this back and forth for the next few months. But anyways, that is the end of the video. This video went pretty long. I wanted to talk about something, but instead I'm going to talk about it in the comments. So read the pinned comment below for some important information. But anyways, if you are new here and you did enjoy, please be sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, like the video, leave your early predictions for this fight in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one, which will probably be tomorrow, for my predictions for UFC Saudi Arabia.